Hey guys, Vengeful Parrot here from Two True Reviews, and today we're going to be taking a look at the single-player downloadable content that is available for Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Now real quick, I do just want to note that I am getting over being sick, so please excuse any, coughing, throat clearing, anything like that that may occur. Now this DLC is actually very, very well put together. I've never been more pleased with a DLC purchase in my life. But that's just me. You're going to want to pay attention and make sure it's for you. The DLC is called Freedom Cry, and it's a lot like the main game in that it has very wonderful characters, even the glitchy ones, like this lady who has a messed up facial mesh, and the story-based characters that are, a lot deeper and more sincere, thought out, all that kind of stuff. And the music in this DLC is above and beyond what was in the main game, which I honestly didn't even think was possible. It's incredibly well done. I'm gonna have to see if there's anywhere that I can buy it, because I like it that much, and I'm weird, and I love video game soundtracks. But, like I said, I mean, it's above and beyond what was in the core game, which, again, I didn't really think was possible. If you've watched the 5-part series that I have on the core game that's reviewing it, you'll know that I absolutely loved the music. And it's saying a lot when I say that it's above and beyond. I mean, they even went through the trouble of having, some songs and everything that are, I don't know if they actually are African folk songs or if they're just meant to sound like them, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they are actual, African folk songs. And that really adds to the atmosphere, because this DLC is based in one of the islands there in the West Indies, and you play as Edward Kenway's first mate, Adwale, and it's about 15 years after the main story in the game. Now, if you don't remember or don't know the backstory of Adwale, he is an escaped slave, and after the main events of the game, he joins the ranks of the Assassins. And again, you're playing as him, and he plays much, much differently than what Edward did. He has a much more brutal fighting style. His primary bladed weapon is a machete, and his primary ranged weapon is a blunderbuss. Not very clean at all. And that kind of like brutal violence almost holds not only throughout his character, but through the story in the DLC as well. There are some parts in this story that could potentially hit close to home for some people, just because it does not shy away from showing you the brutal truth about slavery. There are a couple times when you have to board a slave ship and try and free people. And again, there are things that aren't probably going to be the best for the little kiddies to see. And that lends wonderfully to the general story of the DLC, which I'm not going to spoil any of, but it's fantastic. Now, if you're not the kind of person that enjoys, great characters, fantastic music, and just like a wonderful, well thought out story, this DLC might not be for you. Because outside of those things, it's very small. It took me about 3 to 4 hours to complete, and there's only really one city and a bunch of tiny little places to visit. This is the map here. As you can see, it's very small. There's the one city off to the right there, and then the rest of those other places have 1, maybe 2 treasure chests that you can loot. So if you go to those other places, you're going to want to go to them early on, because some of those treasure chests do contain unlocks and everything, and if you go to them after you beat the main story, the unlocks aren't really going to do you any good. So keep that in mind. Personally, I think it was worth the $10, but again, that's because I'm a huge fan of just well thought out characters and story experiences. Vengeful Parrot, signing off.